How we doing? It's Mailman Nick. Follow me on Instagram at Nick Venti. If you enjoy this content, please give me a thumbs up. Don't shoot me like a 204B over here. And obviously, these are my own thoughts and opinions. I'll not speak on behalf of the Postal Service. So I'm, enjoying the rest of my day off on my balcony. Sunny. The weather's going to be getting cold soon, so I'm just enjoying this nice weather. I rarely go on my balcony. I rarely have time to just sit out here and enjoy the nice fresh air and weather. I do on my route, but not where I'm not, hustling and, stressed. This is nice. Gotta find time to yourself and, self-recovery, and I make sure I try to stretch. I eat. You'll see my grocery haul videos. I try to eat healthy. Obviously, I can't eat 100% healthy. I'm human. Sometimes I cheat. Sometimes I, pick that bad food over the good food. But if I make more good decisions than bad, I'm gonna be all right. My energy's gonna be good. I'm 30 years old. I'm gonna feel young. That's the goal. Feeling young. I hate drugs. I hate alcohol. Hate it. But I wanted to make a video because I have some new people who never been through a peak season, and I just wanted to give some updated tips and how peak season goes, at least in my area. Even though every day feels like a peak season in my office, the only thing different is the start time. So originally we started, but when I started back in 2020, we were starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. Not during peak season, just in general. Now they moved to 8:30, and I think they did that, one, because the city of Chicago was doing it. I'm outside the city. The city of Chicago was doing it, but also our clerks weren't getting our packages up in time, so we had to start later. But we're going back for packages anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. But having that later start time, my days are late, so I'm delivering out in the dark, which I think the less I deliver in the dark, the better. But hey, it is what it is. During peak season, usually after Thanksgiving, we do the 6 a.m. parcel play. We come in at 6. We do like 2 hours, 2.5 hours of running parcels. They get really rough around Christmas time. We do all this Amazon. We do UPS, all that stuff. That's why our days, instead of 10, 12-hour days, are 12, 14-hour days, because we start at 6 and then we get off at like 8, 9 o'clock at night. We don't get penalty though. And I saw in the new contract that it'll be a little later or before. It's usually just the month of December, but they want to extend that with less penalty pay, which I don't really agree with. But we should. The month of December, we don't get penalty. That's why management works way more. We still get time and a half, which is still good, but you miss that penalty time in the month of December, because we would be making a killing, 12, 14-hour days. When I was a CCA, they would have me do the 6 a.m. parcel play until 8, carry a route, carry a 2-3 hour piece, and then go help out on the rural side, because we were so bad when I was a CCA on the rural side. We were really hurting. So I would do all that work just one day. I would come home, I'll be pumped. Surprisingly, I'd be pumped because I know my check was going to be nice. But I would be tired. I'm like, man, I don't even feel like cooking because I got to be up well, luckily, this is going to be my second peak season, living 3 minutes from my office. I live down the street from my post office, and that was all by design. When I lived in the town over, which was like 20-minute drive. Now that when I was looking for a place, I'm like, I want to live in the town. I deliver, make it very easy, especially in the wintertime when the roads are bad, and I don't want those long commutes. 3 minutes after work, I'm home. Unless I got to go grocery shopping, pick up Lola from daycare, whatever. It's very convenient for me. And that's why I recommend new hires. They ask me, should I be a PTF in this office or in this office? But I know the area. If you know the area, that makes it so much easier. Because for me, downtown sucks. Downtown Chicago sucks because I don't know the streets. I know, the I know a lot of like the neighborhoods, like the number streets, uh, the hundred block. I know those, the hundreds. I know those streets, but downtown is very confusing. So if I were to be a mail carrier down there, I'd have a really tough time. So if I'm in the south suburbs, or if I'm in, the south side of Chicago, the addresses, the streets, I know a lot better than if I'm downtown Chicago with all the big buildings and the one-way streets. And I'm not saying there's not one-way streets out here, but I don't know that area well. So I recommend you find an area where you're comfortable at, the streets. It makes it a lot easier, a lot easier. But yeah, I live 3 minutes from my house. But back to peak season, I get distracted, sidetracked a lot. Peak season, make sure, because you're not going to have a lot of time to, rest and stuff. I would try to meal prep, because every peak season, I'm like, I'm going to meal prep, and then I get into peak season, I'm like, all right, I'm going to stop at Panda Express and just make bad decisions. Try to get prepared before the long days, because once you're in it, you're going to be like, oh, I'm too tired. Very easy to do that, very easy to do that. Advice for peak season: if you're new to peak season, just make sure you're getting sleep. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Don't get too overwhelmed. Don't get too overwhelmed. When you have all those parcels, when you have all that mail, it's gonna feel overwhelming. It's gonna feel overwhelming. At the end of the day, it's just packages, it's just mail. Take a deep breath. Just know we've all been in that situation before. I've been in that situation plenty of times, where I've looked at my truck. With the route I have now, I have an hour built in overtime when the mail is light. When the mail is heavy, it's more. So it feels like I'm carrying a route and a piece with just my route. It gets overwhelming sometimes. But I treat it as it's going to get done when it's going to get done. I know I'm not a slow carrier. I know I'm not a bad carrier. It's going to get done when it gets done. I'm going to do it safely. I'm going to do it efficiently. Peak season is going to be rough on this route. Like I said, it's a route where it has minimum an hour built in of overtime. So it's 6-7 relays too long. So that's an extra 6-7 relays of packages, mail, etc. Don't get too overwhelmed. Don't get too overwhelmed. I notice a lot of carriers, they don't ask questions. When I started, I asked questions to the point of people probably thought I was annoying. I don't care. I want to be good. I don't want to struggle on the street. I'll ask carriers questions. Hey, you know this route? What's 2 hours on this route? Is there any addresses that are goofy? Do I need to know? Is there any special keys I need to get in these buildings, boxes, etc.? Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. When I was new, I was like, what's this? What's that? What do I got to do? That's how I was. Don't feel you're new. A lot of people when they come and do this, they have egos. They think it's very easy. And in some instances, it is an easy job. But there's also certain instances where it's not easy. Where you got to learn the case. You got to learn the endorsements on the mail. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Because everybody you're asking questions, the people you're asking questions to are the same people who had the similar questions as you did when they started. Don't ever feel stupid about asking questions. Because if you make a mistake and didn't ask a question, you're going to look stupid anyway. And I'm not saying you would look stupid for asking a question. I'm just saying better to ask and learn than make the mistake on the street or in the office, whichever. Don't let management stress you out. They're going to try to get their times. They're going to try to make their numbers. You have to worry about being safe. You have to worry about going at an efficient pace. And your pace might be slower than somebody else. That we're not robots. We're not all 10 speed. Program that carrier to be 10 speed and No, someone might be 10, someone might be 8, someone, it just depends. There's carriers with limps in my office. There's carriers who, you know, are overweight. There's carriers who, you know, are athletic and tall and short. A lot of different body types, a lot of different factors into how fast somebody's going to do a route, how efficient. The goal is not to do a route fast. The goal is to deliver the mail properly, safely, without any issues. So don't get too overwhelmed. Just, you know, slow it down, take a deep breath. I have to do that sometimes. Take a deep breath on the route because I'm holding a lot of that stuff in my chest. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. The cold weather has a lot of factor into it. The cold weather, I mean, if you're in the Midwest or in a place where it gets cold, make sure you dress appropriately. Make sure you have your headlamp on deck. Make sure you bring your water with you. Make sure you're prepared in the morning. Bring a lunchbox, whatever. You got to be prepared. You got to be prepared. I miss when I wore contacts, but my contacts dried out my eyes. When I was fighting, I got my contacts stuck in the back of my eyes. I had to fish them out. I said, no contacts ever again. I'll be 4 eyes for the rest of my life. I don't care. They dried out my eyes. I had too many issues with them. So, you know, I prefer not having glasses on my face, but, you know, I won't do contacts no more. But let me see. Any other advice? I don't write stuff down. I just ramble and say what I deal with when I'm going through peak season. And just be careful. Watch where you're stepping. Be careful of ice. Hold on to the railing if you have to. I've fallen many times. More than a few times I've fallen, and I've had the mail, and I'm holding it up like Simba in the Lion King, holding it up as I fall, break my butt. I've been on so many ring cams probably of falling, and I'm sure I'll come across them eventually. People putting them on the internet, I'm sure. Me falling, busting my butt, embarrassing, but it happens to everybody. We just gotta, you know, be safe. Watch out for that ice. Don't let management stress you out. Ask questions. Don't get too overwhelmed. You got it? Let's get it. Let's get this money. If you guys have any questions too, you could always DM me at Nick Venti. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications so you know when I upload, when I go live, things like that. So thank you guys all for tuning in, and I'll see you guys soon.